Rhonda here from Nelson's Soapery. Today I thought let's get into a video all about this gorgeous new soap that I'm making. As many of you know, I am actually in the process of doing a wholesale range. So I thought let's get going. I need to make a few soaps that a couple people have asked me about. So in particular, this one is called Lily Moss. And I really love it. So it's not most of my fragrances as well, or soaps with the fragrances, the one thing I do have to tell you is they're not like a normal standard one. I usually blend several blends together, so, and you can easily do that. The only thing I'd say is know the company that you're buying it from, because that way you sort of know their blends. Some companies have more of pure blends than others, and so on. Most of you know I get mine from Pure Candle Supplies, and theirs definitely are a more luxury blend. I have noticed that for sure, and you can tell that usually in the pricing, you know, of fragrance oils, because you can get fragrance oils in, you know, $20, $25, but if you want something, you know, that's more pure and you know more about it, then definitely the price kind of indicates it. But anyway, a little bit of information about that. But today we are going to be doing this gorgeous soap. So I'm going to put some blues, some greens, and some purple. So here are my colors here, as you can kind of see them just there. And I haven't mixed these because I wanted to show you exactly how I do it. So in here, I do have all of my butters already in here. So I have some coconut oil, some shea butter, and some cocoa butter. But before I started this, I actually thought I would show you guys how I get my cocoa butter. So this is the massive big container, and this is what cocoa butter looks like when you get it. It comes in this massive big slab. It's like twice the size of a brick, and honestly, it's heavy, and if you can see that, hardly anything comes off. So you do need to either get a chisel or something. I actually use a knife, and I'm going to get one to show you how I do it. Now, no laughing either, anybody, because I know you're going to go, oh my goodness, look at how she does it. But I thought, look, let's keep it real, and I'm going to show you exactly how I actually cut it. So let me grab something. So I actually have my little, this is just a rolling pin and a knife, and I literally pop it in and hit it. That's it. And you got to hit it hard, and then that is what I've got out of it. And I didn't do this one because I just wanted to show you guys, like I said, exactly how massive and big this is. Like, this is huge. So this is 5 kilograms of cocoa butter. So shea butter is different because it just like literally breaks in your hand. It's really soft, like soft cheese. But this one is harder than chalk. It's really hard. But like I said, I've already broken it up in here and done all this. I will leave the recipe for you guys down below if you want to have a go. And this one, this is no palm, because lots of people are asking me for a no palm recipe, and all of my wholesale ones are no palm. I've definitely gone down that avenue just so that I can open up to, you know, lots and lots of people. So anyway, like I said, hopefully, you know, we can get going and making this. So what we're going to do is the heat transfer method. As you guys know, I absolutely love that method. So all we're going to do is get the water and our lye together. We'll mix it, and then we'll pour it in here and mix. And I have already lined my little container. This one only holds 14 loaves, but 14 bars, but it is the same same size and everything as the ones that I made for wholesale online. But this is going to be more of my sample one, because online I'm actually going to be selling them in like 28 bars, or this one here holds roughly about 14 bars once I snip the ends off. But, you know, like I said, it's a great one to start with if you're doing just the 14 bars. So for anyone that wants to know, my other wholesale, you know, box that we did several videos back now that my husband actually made, it's exactly the same. All the measurements are the same. The only difference is the, you know, the length. So if you want one that only holds about 14 bars, I think this is 45 centimeters long, but all the other measurements are the same, so you can definitely do that if you want to. But you can make these as long or as short as you want. I mean, you know, I only did the massive ones so that I can make them in massive bulk, as that is my goal. And maybe one day I thought I'd love to have a retail shop that actually has bulk wholesale sitting in there for people just to grab it and go. But anyway, that's a long way off. So for now, I still work from my little baby studio, which is on my property. So anyway, let's go and I'll organize everything else. All right, everyone, so I am back to the side here. I do actually have my container of water, so I'm just going to measure this one up. You can't do this one in advance, just to let you know, because you want this lye to be hot, so that way you can pour the hot straight onto, you know, the butters that we've got in here, of course. So for this one, for the water, we need 507 grams. So I'm just going to pop the water in here. I'm not doing a water discount as well because my last water discount ended up in disaster. It ended up really thick and a soap that I actually can't use, but it'll be fine for me, but it just doesn't look too beautiful to sell. But that's okay, I don't mind, you know. Sometimes these things happen, don't they? But anyway, so we've got 507 grams in here. And then, of course, my lye content is 267. So I'm going to just tear this out. I always like to tear it out. That way you don't make a mistake as well. And do make sure that you're really looking at it, because you can't go over with the lye. If you go over, it's no good. So that is 267 exactly. And of course, we are going to be stirring this up. You can't just pour that in, because we do need to stir all the lye. And I always, as I've said in many videos, I just stand away. Please don't put your face over the lye. Even if you had a mask, still don't put your face over it. It is good to stand back. And to me, if this spilt, the worst thing that's going to happen, it's going to spill on the floor and I've got time to move. Not that it's going to. I've never spilt, you know, like, you know, the lye content like this, but you know, safety is really important. Of course, you can wear a mask. Sometimes I do wear a mask, but like I said, I keep myself away from this as well. And don't just stir it for 1 second. Do make sure you really do give it a good stir. And then, you know, this container will be really hot. It's like, feels like boiling water. I can't remember, you know, how high the temperature gets in lye, but I know it's very, very high. So if you're going to put milk or anything like that in, just don't put it in now, because coconut milk would actually go orange in this. So yeah, if you don't want to do anything like that, definitely don't. But you can actually put the dioxide to make it white, you know. All right, so I think this is ready now. I can't feel any more granules on the bottom at all. So we're going to pour it straight in here, and fingers crossed that this is not going to go too thick. If it does, I will know that I cannot use this process next time. But if I had have done a water discount, that way the water would be low, and that's what I did in my last one. And that's why it rised and went crazy. It got too thick and it got away from me, and I just couldn't keep continuing with it, which was really sad, wasn't it? But you know, it's just the way it is sometimes. Also, for anyone that's new at soaping, if you can see how dark this colour is, and I know you can see through this container, the oils and everything, because I'm using olive oils and so on, it will look really dark, but it will lighten up. So this is one that's been sitting here for a day or so. That was my yucky broken one. But, you know, honestly, they lighten up to a sort of a really, a light kind of creamy sort of colour with the recipes I use. And I just use olive oil and sweet almond oil. It's generally the ones that I'm going to use in my recipe. So, yeah, so, you know, don't sort of worry. You can definitely use this. And, you know, if you want it white, then, of course, add your titanium dioxide in. I couldn't remember the word before. But, yeah, you can add your titanium just to lighten it up a bit. or you can use a sunflower oil or an oil that's different, but I don't use any other main base oil except for olive oil. That's just, you know, because that's how I branded myself, but there's nothing wrong with it. You can use rice bran oil as well. There's quite a few that you can use that are light oils. Just remember too that rice bran oil doesn't have as long a shelf life as olive oil. So it can sometimes get those horrible dots in it. So, you know, the little dots everyone talks about called DOS. And that can do with, you know, it might be an old oil that happens too as well. Often if you buy olive oil from the shelf at your supermarket, it's been sitting there a long time. But honestly, for me, I buy all of my olive oil off the shelf and I really haven't had many problems. I have had DOS on mine sometimes, but they've usually been sitting there a long time, or I've done some process wrong for that to happen. So anyway, we will keep mixing this all the way because you really want no lumps and bumps. Look, you can get your stick blender and blend them out, but I always think, look, if you want a really good soap, if you really want to do it the right way, my suggestion, honestly, is just give it time. Give it time and stir it around. So in the meantime, I'm going to let that sit just for a second and we'll pour the olive oils in after because I've already measured those. And this is my fragrance. We'll also pour that in as well. That is of a couple different ones. Before we continue though, I do have my colours. So I'm literally going to take a tiny bit of the oil out of here just so that I can mix these colours, because that way you know that your oils are right, because we're going to pop this straight back in anyway. So it doesn't matter. Just put a tablespoon or so in each one. And like I said, of course, this colour, these are going to go back into our main base. So it doesn't matter. So I'll mix these up. And now something I wanted to tell you as well, if you get your fragrance oil, if you actually put kaolin clay in it, it will hold the scent better. So I'm going to get some kaolin clay. We'll stir that in there because, of course, that's all going to go back into our bucket. So I have lots and lots of different clays on my shelf as well. So usually I put about a tablespoon of kaolin clay. If you put too much kaolin clay, it actually will darken your soap because it does have kind of like a you know, tanny kind of tinge to it as well. And of course your fragrance oils, if anybody doesn't know, because I know that a lot of you are new soapers, fragrance oils too, if they hold vanilla or vanillin, they actually can make your soaps go a really dark colour. Some people don't mind. I mean, sometimes I do a dark soap and I don't mind, but if you want to do a colour, like we're doing colours, you wouldn't want one with vanilla in because you wouldn't see the colours. Alright, so I have these tiny baby icy pole sticks and then I'm just going to stir this in here. Sometimes if it's one colour, so that I'm not wasting any little containers, then I'll actually just, you know, put it straight in the oil and blend that oil before it goes into that. So we'll just mix this so then we know, because I really want this one to be gorgeous, because you know, you guys are going to laugh, but seriously, I actually dreamed of this soap. I mean, you got to laugh, don't you? And that's how you know you're a real soap maker, if you just go and dream about designs you're going to make or something fancy, you know. My gorgeous old dad still thinks it's funny when I tell him, I say, you know, if we're having breakfast, my dad's reading the newspaper, I say, hey, Dad, I dreamed of this soap and I'm going to make this. And he laughs all the time. He says, dreaming of soap, surely you got something better to dream about. I'm like, nah, not really, Dad. He thinks it's so funny, you know, because to him it's like soap's just a rectangle bar of boring soap, you know. And he says, oh, just a rectangle's fine. But he goes in the shower, you know, and he says, oh, he comes out and says, oh, that soap's so fancy. It's colourful. It smells like fruit, you know. So he actually does like it, which is, you know, it's funny because he obviously got brought up in that era of, you know, soap is just rectangle and it's just white or yellow. So, so anyway, I'm changing his mind, even though he's in his 70s. You know, I keep saying, no, Dad, this is what we're going to do. So, yeah, I asked him a couple times, you want to be in my video? He says, oh, no. No one wants to see my old mug in there. So it's funny, really. But he's a gorgeous old dad, you know, he's so sweet. And thank you everyone for your well wishes with my dad. I mean, you've just been so gorgeous. You know, as everyone knows, my dad is really sick with blood cancer. He actually has multiple myeloma. That's actually what the cancer is, which is kind of like the worst form of leukemia. And once you get it, there is no cure, which is a bit sad, isn't it? But he's been, you know, he's been good for quite a few years now, but we'll just see how he goes. We'll just keep loving him and, you know, keeping up the laughs, because he loves to laugh. I think that's where I get it from. You know, he's so funny. We often laugh about different soaping things or something, or if I do one that's failed, he goes, oh no, you know. So yeah, he'll tell me the honest truth if it's no good or he doesn't like the smell, which is kind of funny, isn't it? But anyway, let's get going. So now this is gorgeous and silky smooth. Look how smooth that is. The last one I did ended up, before I even put fragrance in, it ended up just like soap on a stick. I could not work with it. It was terrible. So sometimes reducing your water causes problems. And then if you're not a soaper that's made a lot of soap, you'll start to panic. You know, and honestly, you can panic. I mean, I still panic sometimes. I see it and go, oh. But, you know, usually I'm fairly calm. But if you see that, you just know it's not going to work well. And I knew it. So be prepared for these things to happen. Never make soap for a customer at the last second, because things go wrong and, well, you don't have enough ingredients. And before you know, it's absolute disaster. Now, also, the one thing that I was going to tell you, when you're actually doing the heat transfer method, as you can see, I've stirred this for quite some time. The good thing about stirring it for a long time is you're allowing this to actually cool as well, because you don't want to be starting to mix it and your stick blender in when this is too hot. I honestly don't measure the temperatures. I really don't. But, you know, honestly, the time that you stir it all in, mix it in, give it time and make sure there's no lumps and bumps, it has cooled down enough to work with. Because if it's too hot, you can get soda ash and lots of other issues with it as well. So that's what I do. I just make sure that I do that kind of little bit as well. But from here, what we're going to do is I'm going to get a couple buckets, because we need 3 for my colours, and then my main colour would just be in the main one in here. But for now, I will actually pop in my oil. So this is actually, in here I do have my olive oil, some sweet almond oil, and my castor oil is in here as well. If you're getting it out of a silicone mold, I suggest you put 1 tablespoon of sodium lactate, which is a salt-derived product. So don't feel scared to use that one. It's a really good product, and I do usually use it, but we don't need it in this one today. So, you know, like I said. So anyway, that is mixed, and we're going to, of course, stick blend it. And I will use that as one of my main kind of ones. So I need actually 2 more. Honestly, I probably have 30 plus jugs. I have a lot, so it's crazy, isn't it? I don't really need them. But so now we'll stick blend this, and then of course I'll add the fragrance in. And I usually keep a thing of water aside, and that way you can pop your blender in it just to clean it in between colours. So let's get going. So just give it a blend in between, everybody, and then just get the stick blender to stir it, because you don't want to be blending too much and then it goes crazy. And you can tell as well, like I know this isn't ready, so we will stir it again. But the one thing to tell you as well, this stick blender I'm using is like a $10 one. So you do not need top of the range. I do have a really good $100 one as well. But just to let you know, if you're starting, you can go to your local department and just get the cheapest stick blender. It will still work. Honestly, if you didn't have that, you could even stir it by hand. Take a long time, but eventually it would come to trace. I don't suggest that, but, you know, if you just want to have a go and not buy anything at the start. All right, so I know that is pretty good. I am going to just take my stick blender out. And then I'm going to fix up all my colours. Alright, so we're going to pour a bit into each of the... Actually, no, I forgot. Didn't I? Silly me, I forgot my fragrance oil. Oh, no. So, I need to pop that in. So, let me just pop this in. And we will just pray to the Lords that, you know, the stick... that this fragrance is going to play nice. Because sometimes they don't. If anyone's wondering as well, when I actually do my fragrance, I usually do my fragrance at under 5% because that's what I'm allowed to do in Australia. So in these are going to be my main colours, everybody. So we'll just literally tip these into each one, stir each one, and then most of it's just going to be the base colour. So we will just easily pour these in. I haven't actually been doing a lot of colours at the moment. I do have a plan to do a rainbow unicorn one, but I haven't done it yet. Anyway, so we will go, you can actually also go from the lightest to the darkest. All right, so that is pretty good. I'll just give that a quick rinse. And now I'm going to get the box and then we can start the next bit. So here is my little sample box, as you can see. And all I'm going to do is literally pour the first main one, which is, you know, this is the base. And then I have my design that I've already drawn to the side, which that's what I usually do. I usually draw one to the side. So with this, I'm literally going to be pouring pretty much all of it in. And then I'm going to be pouring in my design on the top of that. So what have we got at the bottom? So I decided that I wanted this colour at the bottom. So if you hold it up high and pour that in, so I know that's pretty good. I'm going to save some for the top. I will actually do that, and I'm going to pop this in, and then the purple will go over the top of this again. You can use your chopstick to swirl it around if you want as well. I need to get one of those cameras, don't I, guys, to go over the top. So I don't have one. Actually, if my aunt heard me say guys, she'd be upset. She hates the word guys being used if women are in the same zone. So we'll just give it a little bit of a tap. And now, like I said, I've got my purple, which is a bit gorgeous. And I really only want this one down, kind of one side. It is getting a bit thick, but that's okay. And I need that little bit left. If you hold it up higher as well, it will go further down in your mould. So that's all I'm going to do. Don't worry if you ever get any on the sides either. I don't worry about that. I'm going to get my little chopstick. If you don't have a chopstick, you can use anything you like. And you don't put it in that way, you put it in this way. And just stir it a little bit. Usually you just kind of pull it off at the end, just so that you can do it. And you can go back around the other way so that it's stirred in gorgeous. And our fingers crossed this one is going to be amazing. I know it's going to be amazing. As I tell my dad, I don't make things that are not amazing. You know, he always laughs. He thinks that's really funny when I say that. I used to say, you know, I only have amazing kids, you know. We should all say that. Anyway, so if any of you guys have watched, or people, I'm not going to say guys because my auntie will be cross with me. But if any of you have watched Tiggy, I love her. I watch her all the time. She's in the UK. I really do love her personality as well. She's so funny. But she always goes on the side and then pulls it over, and I just love that idea. So we're going to do that same idea just for this one. I usually don't do that. I do actually pipe more than anything, but for this one, I just thought it would look kind of cute if I drag the colours. And that's one thing I've noticed that she does. When she makes hers, she's literally dragging the colours from one side to the other, which I actually think is really clever as well. Because, you know, that's all about soap making, isn't it? Just doing something different. And if any of you are watching me and I do anything that you like, I don't mind if you use my technique or anything, because that's what these videos are about, to help, you know, to help us all and just teach us all a little bit, isn't it? So I'm just going to pop the purple through the middle of the two greens, because this scent, I wish I had like smell a video or something through here, because oh, if you could smell this, oh, it's so beautiful. It's like, has jasmine, lily, gardenia, a little like a very, very slight vanilla, not much at all, because obviously I didn't want to use one that discolored my beautiful soap. But yeah, anyway, I'm like I said, I'm a bit loving this, really. It's going to be so lovely. So anyway, like I said, we've done that bit now, and now we are going to be using the spoon because we want to be able to make that gorgeous as well. So I'm just going to get some paper towel just to clean the end of my spoon. Do remember, everybody, too, that, you know, we always say this, don't we? But it is hydroxide. It is dangerous. So please don't let your little beautiful babies near it when you're doing this as well. So I'm literally just going to bring this into the middle, and I may actually just put a little bit of floral on the top. If you do this as well, you can see here that I'm mixing the colours. I'll do a close-up too for you guys as well to show you. And, you know, like, I'm just doing it straight. I mean, you can swirl it round. I mean, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because you've got to remember, too, we're going to cut this, aren't we? So how about we just kind of go around in a little bit. But, you know, like, do however you want. Doesn't matter. Just remember, if you're doing wholesale, you need to make sure this is the same every time. So I always have a book and I write down all my techniques for each soap so that I can try and get them as close as I can. But you also do need to tell your customers to be realistic, because, you know, you can't replicate something exactly every time. But, I mean, look how sweet that is. It's gorgeous. I won't hold it up so it'll do too much, but I'm going to put a little bit of corn flour on. If any of you, you know, are putting like botanicals on, just don't put a lot. Put a really tiny bit, because too much, you know, you got to remember it's going down someone's drain. So it really is just a tiny little bit, just to show them how pretty it is. You don't want to be putting on, you know, mountains of this. Like I said, you can see it's a very, very thin sprinkle. And then, of course, you must put on the top, please don't forget to put your alcohol on the top. So just spraying it, because that will actually help eliminate your soda ash, and that's what makes your soap ugly. But if you do get it, you can definitely use a steamer and steam it off. I've never done it. Honestly, I've never used a steamer, but if I get it, I usually just suck it up and live with it, you know. But, I mean, it looks so pretty, so you don't want to have something that you've sort of ruined. But anyway, I'll grab mine. This is, I've just used an old bottle, but I actually do buy this one in bulk now. But at the start I didn't. I used to just go to my hardware store that sold it. That sold the isopropyl is its real name. anyway, everybody, we have finished. I mean, look how absolutely divine it is. I will give you a bit of a close-up. Hopefully you love how gorgeous this is. I mean, look how pretty it is. Just so nice. But we will come back tomorrow just so that we can make sure that, you know, we cut it up so you can see how gorgeous it's going to be. They're roughly about 140 grams because that's what most of my customers have said they want for wholesale. And what I've done is I've actually just popped in a little like a little isopol stick in the middle, and that way I know that that's going to meet the right amount. So let me just pop this one out. I have actually taken one out already. I don't think I'll cut them all because they're still a bit soft, but just to show everybody I thought I will. So this is what it looks like. How cute is that, with just a tiny bit of biodegradable glitter in the top. But anyway, hopefully you guys have loved watching this sweet little soap. I really like it. And it does smell really gorgeous. So anyway, like I said, I'll let it just have a little bit more time sitting there before I start to cut the rest. But it definitely looks gorgeous. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you on the next video. Bye for now.